Welcome back to the Kruisercast, episode 2. We're a rock band, we play rock, and we eat meat.
We eat a lot of meat.
And we don't take many chances either. We're really nervous and suffer from horrible anxiety.
Yeah, and that's how we can relate to you because, most people our age are weak, and they're like us. They suffer from mental illness, and we suffer from mental illness.
Collectively as a group, I would say, let's just say we've all lost our marbles.
Oh, yeah.
To say the least.
But anyway, we're going to talk about something very near and dear to us, and that was the recording of the album, What Have We Done?
Or, really, it's supposed to be said, what have we done?
Yeah. And I want to, first and foremost, talk about the name. That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
And because this is a conversation that we had amongst ourselves, and this is something I'm not sure how many people know, but on the song Unspoken, the big triumphant end of the song is a chorus and it's screaming.
But wait, before we do that, we have a few shows coming up. We're about to announce a decent handful.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, right now, guys, if you're in Maryland at all, February 24th in Boyd, Maryland, there's a great house venue called The Garage. Check us out on Instagram at Kruiser Show, and you'll be able to get that address there. But we have a big show March 2nd at the Delancey Theater in New York City. We go on at 5:45. Tickets are linked on cruiserband.com under shows. And we have May 17th at the Whiskey A Go-Go in Los Angeles, California. Sunset Boulevard, Hollywood Strip. We're opening for Bullet Boys, the legendary Bullet Boys, who have killer debut album. If you haven't listened to the first Bullet Boys album and you love hard rock, especially like the real sleazy hard rock, a la 70s Aerosmith, that kind of a thing, check out Bullet Boys' first album. Maybe like a bit of a early Van Halen vibe even.
And don't let their names scare you. There's no threat of being shot or anything like that.
No.
It's just a name.
It's just a name.
If you can read a story like Frankenstein or watch a movie like Night of the Living Dead, you can listen to Bullet Boys.
Yeah, no. You're not going to get shot by listening to them. That's a very good point. I would have completely forgotten that.
Yeah, no, a lot of people I've just heard since announcing the show that people were like, hey, we really want to come support you, but, the name is pretty scary.
We're going to get shot at.
Yeah, so
hey, guys, it's not like that. It's not like that. But yeah, What Have We Done? That's the album name. Before you were rudely interrupted.
No, that's okay. I had to gather my thoughts. But, What Have We Done is the name of the album. And then the song, Unspoken, has a part that goes, ooh, look what we've done. And if you listen to that, you might just assume that it's saying, what have we done? But we're so smart that that's not what it's saying at all.
That's debatable whether that's smart or not, but
but listen, this is where it gets real interesting. Now, if you do enough mental gymnastics, you can say, all right, well, the song says, look what we've done. And then the album asks the question, what have we done? So it's just, it's one of those quirky things that you can really just kind of wrap your mind around and really try to think about it a lot. It's pretty deep when you really get into it.
It's really deep.
So, and that's what we are at the end of the day, is deep thinkers and deep feelers.
Yeah.
Which is why we're mentally unstable, like we were saying earlier.
So,
anyway.
Yeah, there's a good little factoid, Mike. Didn't know you had that in you.
Yeah.
Didn't know you had that in you. But,
yep.
I believe last time, and by the way, we were supposed to do this all in one podcast, but we are not very good at podcasting yet.
No.
We might never be. Who knows how many episodes this will even do? But
no. It's also podcasting. So.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but we're talking about Rhode Island, and Jake had left the band, leaving Mikey and I the only original members of Kruiser.
Yeah.
No.
Appropriately so, since it's our name.
Yeah.
But that's not supposed to be a slight to Jake. We love Jake.
No, it's not a slight to any of them.
We don't like Jack, but we do love Jake.
Yeah.
And that's the important thing. That's what we have to keep in mind here.
And then Aiden, from the last episode, also known as the guy who plays bass now, joined the band. and we became the Kruiser current lineup, which is epic lineup. So,
Good lineup.
what do you think is the major differences between playing with Jack and Jake versus Aiden and Charlie, personality-wise? Not personality-wise. I meant like rhythm section, because they're different from each other.
Different.
Very different.
I notice more so differences between Jack and Charlie than I notice between Jake and Aiden. And I would say mostly with Charlie, he's, first off, not breaking any hearts here, Jack and Charlie are both great drummers, for sure. I mean, Jackson Lee Zeppelin, and you don't get that position by being a slacker on the kit. You don't get that position by, half A-ing it, if you will. But with Jack, he's more of a straightforward, like, I don't even know how to really describe it, but
Meat
he's
and potatoes.
Yeah, meat and potatoes.
No, but not in a bad way.
Exactly.
In a good way.
It's hard to say that, and I'm sorry we got to preface stuff like this. He might watch this, so we're just trying to let him down easy. But he's not as good as Charlie. I'm just kidding.
That's definitely not true. They're just different.
No, they are definitely different. And what I mean is just, honestly, I could even say it like this, and this might sound like a slight to Charlie, but Jack is more of a, like, rock, like I said, like, straightforward. He's holding it down. His fills especially are very, I'd say, like, Bonham-esque, which is not an insult. If you take that as an insult, anybody out there, not just Jack, because he wouldn't.
Hey, if you take that as an insult,
yeah, for real. But it's more. I can talk about Charlie more than I can talk about Jack. Charlie has a lot more, like, groove, and he'll do more. Oh man, it's so hard to.
Yeah, Charlie is more flying by the seat of his pants.
Yeah, it's a looser style of drumming, I'd say.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can say that. Like, Jack has moments where he's definitely, like, super tight, and he is definitely gonna keep the train rolling, and obviously Charlie will too, but he's more. It sounds, when I listen to a Charlie drum track, it kind of sounds like the drums are, like, circling around my head a lot. It just doesn't make a lot of sense.
No, I can see that, definitely.
Yeah, like, they're like, there's more movement going on when Jack is
more like hitting you in the chest.
Yeah, like, exactly, like a power.
I kind of feel like, to an extent, the same goes for differences between Aiden and Jake as well. I think Jake was more. It could be because of the drumming differences, but
yeah,
I think Aiden is also more maybe not loose. I don't know if that's a good word for his playing, but it's very. All right, let me find this in between spots where I can create a bass line. For a given song, where can you find it? Where's this bass sitting in this song?
True.
Very much like that. Whereas, I legally can't really talk about Jake's bass playing.
Yeah, we're going through some battles right now in the court.
But no, Jake and Jack are way more like a steamrolling rhythm section, and then Mikey and I lay on top of that foundation. Whereas with Aiden and Charlie, it's more like, the bass and guitars are here, and then the bass and drums, are here, and the guitars are woven in there, and it's more like, you ever have those things in elementary or middle school, the water bottles where you shake them up and it has the tornado in it?
Oh yeah,
that's what it's like.
The two water bottles connected.
Yeah, we're like the tornado now, the band.
Yeah.
In a good way though. Almost kind of like the Who, but we don't sound like the Who really.
Yeah,
maybe a little.
We are, I'd say, better musicians than the Who, more experienced, have a better head on our shoulders than a lot of the people that were in that band.
I'm going on the record saying I don't agree with that statement, especially that last part. But yeah, no, that's how I would equate it. So
anyway,
we that summer, what was that? 22.
Oh, when Jake left and Charlie
and Aiden joined. 22. It had to have
Yeah,
been.
22. That's when Aiden joined.
It doesn't seem that long ago. That's less than 2 years ago. But
Yeah. And Jake and Charlie were in the band together for about a year.
yeah, but we didn't really. It was very like in between phase.
Yeah.
You know? That's kind of how I think of that. It's like once Aiden joined, it's like, okay, this is starting to make a little more sense now.
Mhm.
As a, you know, so I know I touched on this, and if you listen to that whole podcast, bless your soul, but we had recorded a full album with Jake, and you know, we mutually decided, hey, you know, we're just gonna scrap the project, and yeah, it was weird because at one, you know, we had Aiden in the band, new lineup. It's always very exciting when you get a new lineup together.
Mm-hmm.
But we had a full album we recorded that we
had to redo.
We didn't even have access to.
Yeah.
And Aiden learned the songs, you know, just like we had to do with Charlie the year before that, or 2 years maybe, was it?
It was a year.
Yeah. And it was like, damn, we're at square one again. God damn it.
Yeah.
And we were really at square one. So, not a lot of people know this, but we recorded What Have We Done twice all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much we touched on that. But
I think we did talk about that.
yeah,
in
we
the
did it
last
twice
one.
all the way through, which
In very different situations. Also, one of the one that we released was in like a studio, and the first version we did, which I haven't heard it really since we decided not to use that one, but that was, you guys can't see this basement, you can only see the part that we prettied up, but it looked like this basement, which is unfinished, and you can hear the heat going on in the background, so it gives you a nice,
the heat that works really well.
yeah.
But
There were very different situations in which we recorded both versions of that album.
and we were, I feel like we were kind of like putting off doing anything recording wise because it was like, what even are our options?
Yeah.
You know, we just did a full. It's very discouraging, and we, you know, we went in there and we like made an album, like we were overdubs, like everything was very meticulously thought out because we had been sitting on some of these songs for a very long time, and we did all that, and then it was done, and then Charlie's like, yeah, I know this guy named Scott.
Oh yeah.
And we're like, okay. He's like, yeah, you got to come over to his studio. And we're like, all right. And I meet him, and Charlie gave him, I think, Love Isn't Real file or something, the raw mix. And I get in there and we're hanging. It's Scott, Charlie, and these other guys who Scott and Charlie were jamming with at the time, just having fun. And he was like, yeah, man, I really like your song, but I listened to the EP and I don't want to show people that. I feel like that's not you guys anymore.
No, I remember that.
And I was like, I've been like, that's how I felt at the time,
yeah.
especially.
Mhm.
And I was like, damn, okay, this guy
gets it.
gets it. And that's when we met the famous Scott Watson.
Oh yeah. Shout out Scott.
Shout out to Scott. I don't know what he wants his studio to go by now, but if you're in the Baltimore area and he's looking for a vocalist for our project. So I think, male or female, doesn't matter. He's also looking for models as well for photography. So keep that in mind. If any of you lasses are into that, just leave a comment and I'll reach out to you. I lost my train of thought, but yeah, we were like, okay, this guy Scott, we all met him, and he loves Star Wars.
Does love
And
Star
all
Wars.
4 of us love Star Wars.
Maybe we don't talk about that. You know,
Yeah.
Maybe we can ease the audience into that.
True.
I mean, we're rockers at the end of the day. Okay. That's what
We
do,
like
you know.
Star Wars, but not like Scott does. Though.
Yeah. But it was enough. Oh shit! I just got a weird tingle in my foot for a second there. That kind of threw me off. But as far as Scott goes, recording the album, let's jump ahead a little bit. So we kind of met with him, as we said. We talked with him. We showed him the recordings that we had. We ended up getting the full album that we recorded with Jake to be able to send to Scott because we were like, oh, maybe we can. God, what the hell? We can scrap some of this stuff from what we already recorded and use some of that. And
then we sat down. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I have a feeling this is what you were probably going to say.
Don't worry, I'm taking it personally.
Yeah, but he sat down. He's like, guys, because what we wanted to do originally was have him polish everything so we could release it.
Yeah.
And he's like, guys, these performances fucking suck.
Yeah, we did not do great.
We didn't do great because we did a very. But some people pull it off fine, but at that point, we just were not able to self-produce ourselves.
Yeah.
I mean, we could produce it to an extent, but we needed someone to help us get the good takes. And he's like, guys, and at first I'm like, all right, well, Aiden, Aiden, you can re-record, the bass, since, Jay's not in the band anymore, and he wanted to redo some stuff. And then eventually we made a decision. We're like, God, dude, some of these are so bad. We just need to redo the whole thing, like off time, just very amateur stuff. And we were like, holy shit, that sucks.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah. I will say there was some stuff. I remember. I think I talked about it in the last one. I said, it'd be cool to maybe release some of the stuff just on like SoundCloud or something as like bonus stuff, just to put it out there. And I remember specifically the song especially the solo in that. I really want to listen to that and hear that again, that whole take, because I think that might have been one of the better recordings we did with Jake.
Oh no, they weren't all the quality of sound and the, not everything, but on some of the songs like Evil Roll and Wasting Away, it's like we just were so off time.
Oh yeah, it was again, it was like Liam said, it was the performances way more than it was the quality of recording for sure.
Yeah, and I'm sure there were some good performances in there.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, and do you remember how you felt when we found out we had to re-record the whole album?
I don't remember exactly. I remember being like, damn, well, this album is going to get pushed back even more. And it was already at this point originally planned to come out like at least a year before this. And now we have to re-record it, the whole thing again. So I knew that we had to. I knew that was the best option for it to sound the best and for it to be the product that we want it to be. But I wasn't thrilled. For sure wasn't thrilled. I don't think anybody really was ecstatic about re-recording an entire album, probably.
And I mean, by re-record, I mean we note for note re-recorded just about. Wouldn't you say? Like,
oh yeah.
For example,
yes.
I was like, let's take a song like Unspoken. And I remember being like, okay, this song, okay, we all do our tracks. Okay, I'm gonna overdub an organ, a piano, acoustic guitar, and these background vocals, and just like stuff like that, where it's like artistic decisions, and it's like now you have to piece that puzzle. It's like you build a Lego and then it goes, and you have to put every little thing back. You can't half-ass it. Mm-hmm. And but no, the thing about Scott is he was like a genius with certain things, like being able to hear a good take. That guy is he's like no one else with that I've met. Like he's a great fit for us.
Oh yeah, and he recorded it, but he also definitely, I would say, produced it too. I mean, you did a lot of that kind of stuff, but Scott would, from what I remember when I was recording a lot of my parts, he'd be like, oh well, why don't we try this? Like, why don't you add another track here and like harmonize this part and add like a different whatever here and stuff like that. And it was stuff that I had never done before, playing it when we're practicing or when we're playing shows or whatever. Something I had never done before, but he just immediately picked it out and was like, oh, this would sound sick right here, why don't you do that? He did it, and I was like, oh, I totally agree. So like he did a lot of stuff like that where like,
yeah, so it didn't end up coming out note for note like we thought we would, because there was stuff like that where we were like, hey, that was good. And I remember like songs like Misadventure, we had to like the ending of that. I remember we were like, what did we do wrong here? And I remember Scott being like, yeah, listen to this thing that Charlie does at the end here. It's like in 9/8, and Charlie's like, what? I just was off beat. But he's like, Scott was like, no man, that's the best part, right? Scott is like such a musician.
Oh yeah.
Like he hyper focuses on such minute details.
Oh yeah.
Where he's like, oh man, like his favorite part of the album, and on record, he told this to me, is in Unspoken when Mikey's rhythm guitar goes, it just does
the most
strums.
random part
Like
of
you
all
would probably
time.
never notice it, but I was like, Scott, I knew you would say something like that.
Yeah.
And like then in Misadventure, like we're supposed to be this real funky, like a la like whatever, a funk artist.
Throw any of them in there. It's
Yeah,
just-
throw it in. We
that's
really
what
wanted it to
inspired
be like authentic funk,
Yeah.
not like a rock band playing funky,
Mhm.
you know. And we throw all this stuff in. We throw like an electric piano, like a bunch of guitar, and we're listening to it. And we're like, no, this sounds bad. It's too
Yeah.
busy, and we just
Yeah.
had to redo like everything. It was just like constant stuff. Like when you thought you were done, it was like, you know what, guys, we got to redo this, and it was just, man, that album was such a goddamn grind. Oh my god, we
Yeah.
recorded it twice. I love how it came out though.
Oh yeah, I like how it came out too, and especially the learning process from it all. Like our next album that comes out, which I won't say anything about when it comes out. I won't get into that now. But when it does come out, and when we're recording it, I already know it's going to be a lot more smooth because, for one thing, we have that first album under our belt now. We know what more to expect from recording something like that.
Where literally everything could go wrong.
Exactly. So like we've experienced the worst. Okay, I don't want to say that. We have theoretically experienced some pretty severe hardships when it comes to recording an album. So now I know exactly what I can expect for a future effort and how to make it go smoother and what I should do. And I think that I'm trying to speak for everybody here, but what we can all do to prepare ourselves more to make it like the most smooth it can be. And I'm confident that all the future albums and everything we do in the future will be just so much better from that experience because we really like worked out a lot of the kinks and we worked out and found out like a lot about what we could do better or just about like the process and how to make it smoother, like I said.
Yeah. And for all you aspiring people, let's say you've been out a band, not just a band, an artist for a little bit, and you played some live shows. Man, you record your live shows and listen to them at least, and practice and listen to yourself, and you know, something I can offer advice because I was there. I would say Scott and I like co-produced and co-mixed a lot of it. Like I was there every night. We mixed with Scott, and if you hear something and it doesn't sound right, maybe it's something you expected was going to sound good and it doesn't. So just let your ego get out of the way and just redo it or fix it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And in the long run, you'll just. And Scott was very adamant about that. He was like, "Oh man, you know what? Mikey's guitar tone, it doesn't fit the song." Like I remember on Love Isn't Real, like we just didn't wind up getting a good tone with your guitar, and we were like, "Fuck, yes, we don't want to have to record this." But all right, well, we gotta do it, and then we'd do it, and we'd be like, "Yep."
Oh yeah.
And then it'd be on to the next thing, and it's just a subtlety on subtlety on subtlety on subtlety, and then eventually you get a result. And it didn't really take that long. It felt like forever, but we did it. And shout out to George.
Oh yeah. Where's he from? Illinois.
He lives in
George?
Nevada. Now we've never even met George, but he's basically Scott's friend. And he's like, "Yeah, I'll mix them or master them, excuse me." And we're like, "Oh, okay." And I still keep in touch with George. He's a super cool guy, so I'll put his Instagram and whatnot.
He's working on mastering a single that's coming out here pretty soon.
Oh, we can't reveal that yet.
I was kidding when I said that. It was a joke the whole
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
I was
yeah.
making that up.
Yeah, but no, we did record some outtakes and whatnot, you know, because I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. And what was I gonna say? Oh, and another thing to go off that. There's two things. There's two, I guess, quote kind of deals I want to say. But something that Liam told me that was from, I think Zach Wilde said it. You correct me if I'm wrong. But he was like, you got to keep in mind for an album is that's like a snapshot from that time in your life or from that time in your musical journey. As you got to keep that in mind, that whatever album or whatever you record then is that. It's a snapshot from that point in your life, which I think is true too. So you can look back on it and be like, yeah, this is how I was feeling then. This is the level I was at then, and blah, 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 and just look at it like that. And then on the other side, there's another thing. I think it might have been Charlie who recorded the Take You for a Ride, who said, all right, you guys are gonna, this is gonna be it for your whole life. This is what you're gonna hear. So you make sure you like it and stuff. I think it's very important to find like the perfect balance between those two things. Like, look at it as a snapshot of that time period when you recorded it, but also when you're recording it, recognize that that's going to be the product forever. So make sure it's something that you're going to be happy with forever. I mean, I'm saying it doesn't have to be perfect for you or anything like that, but just make sure it's something that you're going to be happy with showing people forever, pretty much.
And you'll probably never get it if you're like anything like me, or sure all of us. It'll never be perfect, man. Like, it'll never be perfect, and that's just something. And not just as a musician, but as someone, a creative person. Even as like an entrepreneur, maybe you're not creative, but maybe you're an entrepreneur, which you kind of have to be creative to be one. Dude, chasing perfection. You should try and get everything perfect, but accept that nothing will ever be perfect. If that makes sense.
It's a good way to put it.
And
you're really smart.
Yeah, I eat a lot of meat. It helps my brain. But
Sure does.
Yeah, and I don't remember who said that quote, but about the snapshot in time. I can't remember who said that, but I know it's something I've been saying for quite some time, and it's. I remember even back then I was like, circle back to Take You for a Ride. I love listening to that album. It's our first album, and it's just a great time in our life. And the songs are really fun on it, and we sound a little different than we do now. Maybe we would have done some different things. Sure, why not? Of course, maybe I could have sung some of the vocal lines way better now. Sure, why not? But that would ruin it.
Yeah, I mean, I literally played the guitar parts, some of them definitely differently than the way they're recorded. Even for the album, not even just the EP. Like, I don't play everything the same.
Wow.
And I'm sure 2 years from now I'll be saying the same thing. Is that, I found a better way. Not even a better way. It's just, it's music. So I'm
nice. That was crazy, whatever that was.
No, but it's music. I mean, there are definitely bands, and there's definitely a time and a place where it's you want to be tight and you want to play everything exactly how it is. But that ain't us, or at least that is not me. I don't play anything.
I don't think
like
it's any of us. That's just not the cloth we're cut from.
Exactly.
As musicians, and that's okay. I mean, there's plenty of people out there who kill it, and they do the same set every night, and they play it with clicks in their ears and live, and they have artificial tracks to help enhance their performance. And that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that, in my opinion. But that's just never who we were. We were always, we grew up hanging outside, like fucking essentially effing, kicking rocks around.
Yeah.
Like as kids, we weren't like we were greasy. We were like a bunch of little cockroaches. We didn't. We grew up hanging out in Pizza Kurt's like 65 Impala and playing video games all night. Like
eating a lot of candy.
Yeah, no. But this might sound like, what the hell does this have to do with anything? It's like we always did stuff, life, I feel like that way, where it's like a little gritty or a little rough around the edges.
Oh yeah. We don't plan for things.
Yeah.
Well, we do.
But we never will let you guys know what those things are.
Yeah.
Because we want to have the illusion that we don't. But what does the What Have We Done album, in retrospect, mean for you as an album?
I don't know. It's a hard question. What does it mean for me? I mean, it's the first like full length album that I was ever a part of, and I won't get too deep here, but when we were recording it, it was definitely an interesting time in my life, and it was a good distraction for sure. It was probably the best distraction that could have come about, and I was very happy to be able to have somewhere to go and just be like, all right, well, my role right now is to record my parts and make them the best I can and see what I can add, but not too much because I don't want to showboat, of course.
Nah.
But it was a lot of fun. It was songs that we had ready to go for a long time. It provided a good sense of accomplishment, I'd say, because, like I said, those songs were ready to go, most of them, for years at that point. It had been delayed and stuff out of our control, like the freaking pandemic, per se. We won't say which one, but there was a certain pandemic that happened that prevented us from recording it when we really wanted to. So, I'm just happy with it. And looking back at it, I like the songs a lot. So, yeah. What about you?
Well, I agree with all those sentiments. Yeah, sure. I mean, I know what you're talking about. I know. There was always, if not a distraction for other things in, all of our lives, there's always something that you had to do. It's like, fuck, I gotta record tonight. I gotta mix tonight. I gotta, get something put together.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the album itself was like, I think the years leading up to that, I became, me personally, and I'm sure you might have similar sentiments echoed, I became increasingly self-conscious of the direction of how we sounded on the first album, Take You For a Ride.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think we got a lot of comparisons to groups that maybe slightly influenced, more coincidentally, sounded like, maybe had similar influences, maybe had similar writing processes and song structures of, like the Motley Crues, the Guns N' Roses of the world. And sure, both great bands, right? But I don't think we really listen to them anymore. I think we almost immediately outgrew that. Like, I remember the summer after the Take You For a Ride came out, just getting really, really, really into, like, the Black Crowes, for example, and the Grateful Dead, and just being really interested in the jam scene and stuff like that. And then, throughout that, even after that, just picking up so many different influences along the way. So I think that album really, like, to me, it means, like, it shows who we are. I think it as a band, like, you're like, yeah, okay, we rock hard,
Oh yeah,
we're a bunch of rockers. You got Ain't Gonna Stop, Evil Roll, Wasting Away. It's like, hey, we're rocking, and we're maybe a little heavier now, maybe a little more, polished around the edges. With a song like Ain't Gonna Stop, there's a lot of starting and stopping, and
kind of contradictory to the title.
yeah, it's a lot more intricacies. You got Wasting Away, which has like like an actual like breakdown after the solo,
And even during like the verses and stuff, there's a lot of like ambiance going on.
Yeah. It's a heavier song. You got a legit metal scream at the end, and then just stuff like that, and maybe less guitar oriented, more song oriented stuff. Then you got Unspoken and which we purposely made like back to back songs so you could listen to one into the other, which a little more psychedelic with both are very, very at least from my end, those were two that Mikey and I wrote together. But I know my contributions to the songs were very like soul and R&B oriented, maybe even a little southern rock thrown in there, and just gospel influences, and wanted to sound like basically like more of a classic gospel soul R&B influence stuff that I know that you and I and Aiden and have always liked. And so those songs were different too. And with you had the jazzy solo and all that, and Misadventure had a funk song on there, which we all obviously, going back to that, the more urban influence sounds we've always really been fans of. And Love Isn't Real, Jimi Hendrix style song.
Oh yeah. I would say that the comparison between What Have We Done and Take You For a Ride is that What Have We Done is just it's way more broad. It tells It tells a wider story about what we actually are into.
It ends with the country song.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
And
it's more layered. To pull from one of the most wise men of our generation, Shrek one time says that onions have layers, and that's really what
Kruiser's an onion.
Yeah, Kruiser is an onion nowadays. And with Take You for a Ride, you didn't necessarily get an onion. Maybe you got the bulb at the end, but what we wanted was a true onion where you could cut it and you could see all the rings, kind of like a tree also. Trees are nice.
So we basically put out this album that distinctly sounded like us, but at the same time went in at least 5 different directions that at least that we didn't even hint at. Whether it was metal, whether it was funk, whether it was like Falling, that's like very blues.
Oh yeah.
But at the same time, it's like got heaviness, and so it was just like, hey, this is who we are as not just as musicians, but I feel like as people. Like the songwriting is so much more lyrically oriented and personable. So I think it's just what it means to me. I know that was a bit of a long-winded answer, but it's like this is definitive at that time, at least, who we are. Like this was like it was like weight off the chest. Because not only is the album released, but it's like you're showing who you are more. And no shade thrown at the Take You for a Ride album, because none at all.
Yeah, we still made that. So if you talk crap about that,
we'll kick your
ass.
ass.
Have a problem.
We'll kick your A.
Yeah,
crap. We got a lot of editing to do, but it's
okay.
still love that album. Those songs freaking rock on there.
Oh yeah. So
that's what it means to me. Do you have any particular favorite moments or songs on the What Have We Done album?
I would not necessarily like favorites or anything, but I would say honestly, I think probably the oldest song on that album is the Outlaw song. And,
for no doubt.
And that predates Take You for a Ride. That probably predates some of the songs on Take You for a Ride, but that is the most different song, and it's incredibly random. But I think that one is pretty cool. It's not my favorite. It's definitely not my favorite, but I think I'm glad it's on there because, again, it just shows a different side of what we wanted to do, and it shows a different side of like influences and just the stripped back feel I like a lot.
Yeah, it's a great send-off song too for the album, I think.
Yeah, because you got Hitman is also I really do like Hitman a lot.
Yeah, that's that one became one of like a group favorite.
Oh yeah, I mean because it's so fun to play, and also it's just the contrast between Hitman going right into Outlaw is really cool. I'm a big fan of that aspect of the album.
I'm with you on that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not completely random either, though.
No,
it feels purposeful.
It does. I mean, and Hitman and Outlaw as an ideal or a theme, they go very well together.
Yeah, that's a good point. Never even thought of that.
Yeah.
So, Hitman was like the prog song in the album. Definitely not a good way to describe it. It was very like Tool, Deftones influenced, and lyrically, it was a little bit different, more of a story of a outlaw, really, a rebel.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
But
there's a through line there somewhere. You got to figure it out.
There's a through line there somewhere, but yeah, that's a great. I had trouble picking my favorite. I'd probably say I love that song. It's good. It's great vocal melody. Mm-hmm. Great chord progression. Love the organ and all that.
Oh yeah.
But then again, the first 3 songs go dumb. Lums and Reels is a classic too.
Oh yeah.
Unspoken is epic. That's like the magnum opus. That was like the one I was always most excited to hear. That one.
Same. I like that song a lot.
I like that song a lot. So. But yeah.
That's what have we done. That's what we did.
Yeah. I don't really have anything else to say about it. I mean, I feel like that pretty much tells the story of it. It was a long process, but it turned out pretty cool in the end, and I think a lot of people vibe with it.
Oh yeah, I think so too. I mean, I know because we got people hitting us up all the time telling us how much it's changed their lives for the better.
Yeah. And worse, some people.
Some worse, but more so better. And all we're gonna try to do is, just keep making people's lives better with our music. And at the end of the day, it's about us.
Yeah.
It's about us improving your life, and don't forget that.
Yeah. Yeah, but in all seriousness, guys, thanks for checking out the second episode of the Kruisercast. We got a music video for Love Isn't Real, which is from the What Have We Done album, out on this exact YouTube channel, so go check that out. Like I said, cruiserband.com. You'll always stay updated with shows, especially if you follow us on Instagram and TikTok, which is also both Kruiser Show. We'll have that all linked in the description. So yeah, let us give any requests on what you want for videos, because the music is our main priority, and then after that, we try and do content when we can. So any ideas, we'll see what we can do, what's within our capabilities.
Yeah, exactly. And shout out to our sponsors. We're not going to tell you who they are, but
no, we do have sponsors, but we're not supposed to tell you who they are.
I'm not telling you who they are.
Yep. All right, have a good one.